You get Mr. Maps. You know they normally say there is this saying Nigeria is the giant of Africa. I want to hear from you. Is it really true?
Nigeria is the giant of Africa. So I think if you're saying Nigeria is the giant of Africa, there are really like different forms to that, right? There is a population side of it,
Okay.
and there is also like an economic reality side of things, right?
Okay.
If we're looking at the population side of things, we would definitely say, oh, Nigeria is the giant side of Africa, right? But when you start going in depth, you start figuring that, okay, in terms of the economic realities, right, like where we are right now, that statement is not, it's quite true, it's not really true, right? Because there are just a lot that's when you start fleshing out, you figure that these giants, it won't fall. But yeah, maybe we'll just use that, right, and continue the conversation. Yeah, but on your own take, what do you think?
As you said, man, in terms of population, we are the giant. You understand? But when it comes economical wise, I don't think we are yet there, because Ghana, just let's say Ghana, our neighbor, they're actually doing fine when it comes to economic stability. Let's use South Africa for instance. They're actually doing fine. But looking at Nigeria itself, before we say Nigeria is the giant of Africa, we have to look at the economic side of it. Nigeria does not have vision for herself. You understand? So when I say Nigeria does not have a vision for herself, now if you look at our politics, the kind of government we are practicing here, the kind of leadership we are practicing, a particular government will come on board and spend 4 years, maximum 8 years. You get? If you look at, for instance, now the one who have that, they say their agenda is renewed hope. I don't see anything renewed about the hope. You understand? So every government that is coming in must have a clear vision for Nigeria. Since we say we are giant of Africa, Nigeria is supposed to have a clear-cut vision, like that will span for 30 years, 50 years, 60 years. So when there's no clear-cut vision, then there will always be a problem. You get? So for me, economical side of it, Nigeria is not yet the giant of Africa.
I wanted to touch on that as well, right? I would also want to agree, right, that economically we are not the giant of Africa, right? All right, so if you look at the Nigerian population, right, almost 200 million plus, and you look at our GDP, which is around 285 billion to 377 thereabout dollars, you would just figure that there's just something wrong, right? There's so much wrong. And for the viewers, right, to really let you guys know what, if you might ask, what is GDP, right? It's literally the total value of goods and services, right? That total value of goods and services in a country at a particular time, right? So basically, and that is to say, if you take that GDP and you divide by the total population we have literally in Nigeria, you would see that the value of a person, that is someone who is working in Nigeria, is so very, very minimal, and that is why the economy is just the way it is, right? That's just the way it is. You could imagine how they say, like, most of what gives us like that leverage comes from oil, when we have so much more. So for real, man, Nigeria is not yet, I would really want to argue and say Nigeria is not an African giant economically, but maybe population wise it is. But economically, not yet. Yeah.
You see, I normally say this, when, for instance, looking at the GDP side of it, what is actually contributing more of like to the GDP? If you check the service sector, if you check the agricultural sector, then what should contribute to the GDP growth more is now less, which is the industrial side of it. So you see the problem. So when people are meant to be industrious now, they are not depending on services and consumption. You understand? So that is not actually healthy for a nation. So when we are actually in that consumption state, there is always a problem. You get, there's always a heavy problem. But my major concern now is not actually that consumption side of it. It's a nation can rise. A nation will always rise if there's good leadership. So my other question is this: what do you think we should do to raise good leaders? If you look at the academic side of Nigeria, like the educational side of it, the kind of students we are producing, at the end of the day, come out with that mindset of let's work for government, let's do all of those. And it's, at the end of the day, it's not actually the major thing that should solve Nigeria's problem.
Yeah.
So what do you think we should?
A quick twist, right? I just want to ask you this question. It's a quick twist. And the question is basically, if you're being offered to be the president of Nigeria, right, now or today, would you accept it?
Why not? Yes, I will.
Okay. Anyway, I'll not ask you too much. But yeah, so back to the student question. Yeah, so we're not getting it, or let me say currently we're getting it wrong. Like we're discussing the last time, right? The industrialization. I think if we really want to have our stand, because right now the statement African giant is shaky. Right? So if we really want to have that stand, we really need to get to a point of where we already have the raw materials, right? But we're able to manufacture those things, process it here, like everything happens here, right? And because there is a conversation that had happened where they say the reason why oil it's that main source is because it's the only thing we're exporting, right, to get back the dollars, right, and then bring back, right, as foreign exchange, right. But most of these other goods are literally domestic trade, and it's always like in Naira, you get. So but when we get to that point where we can process all these things and then we can take it there for like more FX, you get, it will help the economy a lot, right, and we'll get from point A to point B, and where we'll start standing and saying, oh, we're the African giant. Because right now we're a teenage giant.
Yeah, see, maybe in toddler class.
Yeah, but that's basically it, right? And this also connects to what you're saying around the even exports in terms of skill sets, in terms of talents, right? So an example of this is Mandela, right? Mandela had already gone to a unicorn status, right? Because they had taught people skills, and then they took these skills and they were able to export it outside, right? And people were paying for these things, right? So, and for me, that was why, even in the last conversation I was telling you, I feel there is still more work. So we need more entities like Andela. Thank you so much, Andela, for what you did, but we need more entities, right? And it's getting to a really, really good era right now that AI is even here, right? There are conversations around humanoids. So humanoids are literally people, just individuals, but really, really knowing AI, right? You could imagine if we really, really hold our hands on this AI stuff, trust me, yeah, we would become giants.
So still on the Andela side of it, they're in the educational side of things, you get. when I normally look at Nigeria educational side sector, should I call it sector, that side of Nigeria, we are really missing out a lot in that segment, because when, as I said earlier, when a nation does not have vision, to direct our affairs will be very, very hard. So now she will not be able to train the younger ones to be able to run with their vision. So if you look at Nigeria currently, everything is just somehow scattered. But I pray we get to that point where we'll be able to arrange the pieces and join everything together to make actual sense. Because the way we are going, if we get to that 2032, that they say Nigeria, Africa will become the wealthiest continent in the globe. If we do not align this piece, bring them together and make something good out of it, we may not be able to achieve that. So I think a lot needs to be done. A lot needs to be done. So there's this question I want to ask you, Mr. Maps. If supposing you're living in Kaduna, or maybe you're living in Lagos, okay, now you're in Abuja currently. Let me just ask you, with what is going on around you, do you think Nigeria politics, the kind of game that is being played, or the kind of government we have in Nigeria, will be able to help Nigeria achieve a kind of economical development that will boost Nigeria GDP?
So let it be known, public notice, I don't like political discussions. So I actually don't like political discussions, but politics for me, it will always be a dirty game, right? And I will tell you that everybody who is joining politics, the people who just benefit are people very close to them. Maybe let's say 3 chains that are very close to them, right? And after those 3 chains that are close to them, the rest beneficiaries comes from people who are affiliated to them, and then the next 3 chains, and then the next people who are affiliated to those people, the next 3 chains, right? So my answer to that question literally is no. I don't think our current political system will get us there. A lot has to change. A lot has to change, even from the space of leadership, like how we lead, from the space of even age group, right? The kind of people who are leading currently. I'm not saying the young guys would really do amazingly well because they are young, right? That's not what I'm saying, because we have people who are young and are still dumb, right? But all I'm saying is things just have to change for the better. I don't think the people we have currently are very, very patriotic. They are just in for their pockets. Yeah.
So there's no clear-cut vision. They don't even have
back to vision. Yeah. And back to the building we spoke about, because Nigeria is also, when you look at it, even when we talk about the Unilever stuff, where they say Nigeria is actually a company, it's a business, right? If you're talking about building, and we talk about building for impact, like building in a way that it's not just about you, like the whole thing has to be better. So for now, man, very politics can help.
Very true. Me and a friend, we were actually discussing on Sunday. I was discussing with my friend on Sunday, so I told him that the only salvation that Nigeria would have is when the current government have a clear vision, then have a structure of transferring this vision to private sector. You understand? Because when this vision is being transferred to private sector, even when they are not there, the private sector will kickstart. For instance, we drive that vision forward. For instance, let's say they have a vision of going into steel manufacturing, and let's say the federal government owns 30% of that setup, that company, that infrastructure. Then 70% is privatized, like a private institution or company owns 70% of that company. So at the end of the day, even when the current government leaves power, the guy that is still holding 70% of the share of the company wouldn't want that setup to break down. Why? Because him is business conscious. You get? So that's the only way I think Nigeria will be able to achieve a long-term productivity and be able to build a kind of economy that we can boost up and say Nigeria is indeed the giant of Africa.
Do you know the story of Standard Oil?
I don't really know. Can you walk me through it?
So Standard Oil, that is there's a story around John D. Rockefeller, right? All the big oil companies, around Nigeria or Africa, they came from Standard Oil, the likes of Shell and the rest of them. But it came, I think literally he built it very privately till it became very big, and then the government say, hey, come, you guys are very big and we need to now split you guys. But it means that even as splitting them, each of them was still like being held with that. He still had like that high sense of, oh, this is still a Standard Oil thing and it's beyond the government kind of thing.
I just want to hear from you. Do you have like two good solutions or two good answers that you can give to this question? Can Nigeria ever become a nation that we can call an industrious nation or the giant of Africa?
Yeah, so I do have. So back to what we're saying, right? The good thing about this era is there's this question always happening around the next generation of billionaires, right? The next generation of billionaires has been argued it's not around the fintech we see every day. It's not also around just SaaS products, right? But it's around the discussion we had back then where we say, is there a traditional thing working, right? And if there's a traditional thing working, then you can now digitize it, right? You can now put technology into it, right? So, and literally, it has to also be a mindset shift. And where this mindset shift would start is from the schools, right? So it's very possible. Every country who would know are developed today. They moved from where. So and this is the good thing. The good thing is people have actually been here before and they've moved. So we also need to be very, very, very intentional that we are here and we want to move, and we will do it collectively. And the truth is, we don't need the government to do this, guys. We might need the government in some places. So just like the Standard Oil, this thing, right? John D. Rockefeller, he did it to a certain level that the government, it was just something they couldn't ignore. And we're like, hey, you are so big, right? So guys, just think about it. We can literally come together and make this work. Let's build, not just because, let's build to outlive us, right? That is literally the word, or you're right, or the statement that build to outlive you, not just build for yourself and say, okay, just why you are here, it's just about me, because the way the politics works, the current political situation, right? They are not building, the policy makers, they are not making policies that would actually outlive them. They are making policies that it's basically, it's just suited for them. They get what they want and they are out, and I don't think we'll get there. But again, as I would always say, right, let's stop looking at them, guys. I'm an advocate of being a real builder, right? So let's stop looking at them and just let's build, right? Let's just build. Let's find real problems out there, solve and build, because it's from building that would get to solve unemployment. And by the time we start solving unemployment, that is when we'll really start talking about being the giant of Africa, right? Because solving unemployment is really, really, really a major part in making us like the giants of Africa, guys. Yeah, basically, that's my take, my investor. Thank you.
Okay. For me, to become industrious, or for Nigeria to become industrious, we have to look at the vision side of it. So, and the vision, as my brother normally says, your why has to be very, very big. Your vision has to be big. It has to outlive you. You get. You shouldn't think about yourself. Though you should think about yourself, but it should extend beyond you. You get. So that should be the driving force behind everything that we are doing, even as builders, even as a nation. And if you are into politics, this should be your mindset. You get. Thank you so much. This is Real Value Talk, and we are being sponsored by Kiosk and affluence. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.